Hello, this is the second developer log for The Only Certainty. In this video I'm just going to run down a couple of things we're working on at the moment. The first one being changing the resolution that the game displays at. It displays in a windowed mode by default because I just don't have the time or energy or patience to optimize the game for displaying at multiple resolutions. So the last version of the game displayed in a 720 resolution window. What you could see of the game was very small. You were flying around and enemies would detect you as soon as you saw them. So you'd kind of have to have spider senses to know they were off screen. One of the things we wanted to try out was having a radar so that players would be warned of hostile things coming into view, but that kind of, I don't know, it just kind of took away some of the mystery of exploring. So in this build I've just upped the resolution a bit, so this game now displays at 1080p, and I'll just click across to it now. As you can see, it's displaying in a 1080p window on the screen. The main menu I haven't optimized yet, so you've got this big blue box around it. So let's just jump into the game. Alright, as you can see, the UI hasn't been optimized either. I'm quite happy with where the status bar thing at the top displays. I'm happy with that. Probably going to keep the radar actually a little bit. I'm going to discuss that with John more. I'm not too sure. And obviously I need to move the dialogue boxes down and stuff. But you can see more of the game world, but not too much. So in the previous build, this big debris field on the right you couldn't see past even if you got in it, so you wouldn't know if it was worth crossing or not. So in this instance I'm flying across it, taking a speed hit and taking damage, but I'm across and I've just bypassed a potentially dangerous part of space. Oh shit, drone. As you can see, these drones, they're quite camouflaged. You won't notice them because they're fairly stationary and static. Boom. So you won't notice them really in the depths of space until you're on top of them, which is kind of how I like it. So like that drone just to the left there, I didn't notice until it started turning because it spotted me. As you can see, it's turning, and I've got too close. I kind of need to make it... Now that doesn't seem too good to me. It's detected me, but it's not actively chasing after me at a slow speed, so I'm going to have to change that in a bit. Also, this higher display shows off the fantastic space station art that Brian did. All the detail you can see popping, and the animations are just fantastic. It's worth flying through these guys. Oh no, I've run out of fuel rods. Alright then, fine. Plug my power bar back up, let those drones annihilate themselves, and continue to fly around. But yeah, that's pretty much what we've done with what I've tweaked with the resolution at the moment. There's not much, it's not had a huge impact, but it's just changed how you play it a little bit. And I look forward to finish tweaking the UI and putting everything back into place so it looks at least functional before I send it to testers. Oh, annihilated. Just quickly run through another change we're going to be making soon is, obviously there are no sound effects in the game at the moment. We'll be working with Mark, the fantastic sound guy who approached us several months ago now. We'll be working with him to try out sound effects as well as this wonderful little musical background. Ooh, there's a bit of a frame rate stuff there. I'll have to look into that. We'll be working with him to add some awesome sound effects to the game. Now I know everything in space is silent, and while that's cool and realistic and fun and all that, it's not great for a video game. I can see it working well in things like Serenity and Firefly, where it adds an atmosphere to the action that you're seeing. but even then they sort of add these dull thunks just to indicate sound. Whereas in this game we kind of need sound. We need like warning sirens and explosions and thuds as things crash into you. Ooh. And this is the good thing about doing a devlog without really scripting it or planning it. I'm spotting little graphical glitches. Now I've bumped the resolution up slightly. You can see at the top of the nebula there, just this little bit of nebula here, you can see a little black line flickering in and out. I have no idea why that is. This is another reason why I don't really want to change the resolution too much. It's because it just, look at that entire nebula, you can see the tile boundaries, I think. Is that what that is? I have no idea. More testing will be required on that, I think. So if this is something just as small as upping the resolution slightly has caused a number of tiny little graphical glitches that I'm going to need to look into, because that doesn't look great. The rest of it, however, looks fine. I'm quite pleased with the way it's turned out. Oh, come on. Did I run out of power that much? Another thing I do want to do is... ooh, I believe my phone just went off then. Whoops. Another thing I do want to do is, and this is a suggestion from Brian, the awesome artist, is when you fly into the nebulas like this, obviously it obscures your view, so you struggle to see things around you, and that can be really, really dangerous when flying at full speed and when you're being chased. But what would be quite cool for it to do is hide you from drones that are pursuing you. So if the moment you collide with the detection, with the collision mask over the nebula, the drones sort of automatically lose sight of you, so to speak. Now I just want to quickly double check if, now you can see the UI is drawing over the nebula fog. I just want to quickly check if the detection icon above the drone draws over it as well. No, it doesn't. Sweet. That's not bad. Oh god. What else do I want to change? I want to get rid of those awful obtrusive default pop-up windows that pop up when the game wants to ask you a question, like whether you want to refill your power bar or jump to relative safety. Oh, that was not relative safety. That was not relative safety. Oh god. Right, I'm safe. Yeah. That little pop-up dialogue box we want to stop from appearing and translate it into an actual more refined in-game dialogue that doesn't sort of take you out of the immersion. Oh, damn it. I've just noticed that asteroid bug's still in. So yeah, in the same way that the dialogue box pops up for midnight when you scan something. Oh god, just leave me alone. Everything just annihilated itself. In the same way that the oh god, so many drones. Oh god. Oh god. I can't see anything either. Oh, leave me alone. Oh, they both annihilated themselves, that's cool. I keep getting distracted. So yes, dialogue box. Let me fly around to find a scannable object. There we go. Just scan it. Yeah, in the same way that Midnight's dialogue box pops up there, whenever I press the J button, so if I want to spend a fuel rod to jump to safety, I want that to be this. But with this window here, I want it to become Midnight asking you the question, and the game knowing when to accept a yes or no button press from you, without pausing the game in any way. I have the idea of how to do it in my head, but as with all new bits of code and functions, I'd have to create a lot of objects and tweak things, and it would just require a lot more testing than I have time for at the moment. But yes, this is the only certainty as it is at the moment. I'm just going to continue working on tweaking the UI display so it fits with this new 1080p window. Also want to add sound effects to the game and make the collisions, that's what I was also going to say, make the collisions a bit more, give them a bit more impact. because at the moment, especially the patrol drones, they just sort of fly through you. So I'm currently researching ways to make the game feel good, and ways to make taking damage feel like you're taking damage rather than just it minusing numbers off a health bar at the top left. So screen shake is an option, which I'm not entirely sure how to even attempt, and getting these goddamn drones to collide with you and have a meaningful impact as well. So like that patrol drone then, when it hits you the first time, I'm going to make them do more damage, I think. So this drone here, that just took off a chunk of my health, but a relatively small amount of health. So in other words, when I want that drone, if that drone's going to collide with me, I want it to knock a chunk, like almost half the health bar off. So for example here, this thing can hit me, it takes what, 3 bars off the health? I want that thing to hit me and take off 10, maybe 15 bars of the 20 health you've got there. That'll give the collision some impact, but at the same time I also want the drone to check if it's not destroyed you. I want it to recoil or stop in place for about a second or two, just so it recovers its just because it can recover itself. That's going to take a bit of coding as well that I'm not looking forward to, because that's going to involve overriding the default AI for the drone. It also is going to require a little bit more physics programming, because as you can see, these asteroids, you might not see it at the moment, but I think it's happened earlier on in this video off screen. The asteroids bounce off each other in quite a nice little ricochet sort of manner. Oh god, these things just come out of nowhere. Oh god. I kind of need the drones to register that the player has a physical presence as well, and that if it doesn't destroy you, it sort of stops or bounces off you slightly, or bounces backwards. If it does destroy you, I want it to blast through you, and blast through your explosion in a nice, satisfying manner. Yeah, those are all the tweaks we've got going on at the moment. If I can just minimise this. What else can I talk about just before this video times out? Let me have a look. Actually, what I'll do is quickly look at the patrol drone. Where are we? It's not the Swarmer, it's not the Sneaker. It's stupidly called the Smasher drone. It has a number of different interactions at the moment, so it can interact with everything. All the debris. The interactions for when it collides with the debris are pretty easy. If it collides with debris, it'll create an explosion object, and so on with the rest of them. However, I'm going to need to change it. I'm going to need to change this collision detection bit of code here. This is going to be the main bit I need to change. Currently, we have a damage script which all objects in the game use. All objects that can damage the player use. It's a nice little easy script. If I pull it up over here, script damage player. It takes 2 arguments. It takes the first argument it takes is the amount of damage done, and the second argument is the length of the grace period afterwards. So the player gets a little period of invulnerability after taking damage. So in this instance, the Smasher drone, the patroller drone I still call it, does 3 damage when it collides with the player, and sets the player's grace period to 30, I believe that's frames, 30 steps, yeah, 30 in-game steps. So that's, if this game runs at 30 frames a second, that's 1 second. You get a second of invulnerability after the drone has hit you. Other objects that call that script are the Seeker drone, which does 4 damage, and you get half a second's invulnerability. So those things do a lot more damage because they explode on contact, and just to make them a little bit more dangerous, they because they appear in swarms, like they just constantly fly at you. The invulnerability period is a little bit less. So back to the Smasher drone. I'm going to need to change this. I don't know quite how I'm going to do it, but when the player damages, when the drone damages the player, I'm going to need it to check if the player's health is greater than the damage done. So if the player's health is greater than the damage the drone will do to the player, execute. I don't know what this other bit of code is going to have to do. Execute recoil script. That recoil script that I've just pulled out of my head there will knock the Smasher drone back and override all its basic AI code and movement code, which is this beast of script here. So if the player's not destroyed when the Smasher drone hits it, it will stop in place or recoil backwards slightly, and it will override all this detection code. So I may have to... I don't even know how I'm going to do this. I don't even know. I'm going to assume I'm going to have to create a new state. So I'm going to have to create a new detection state that keeps the level of drone's detection, but changes how it moves. Oh god, that's going to be an absolute nightmare to do, but hopefully it'll be worth it. So yeah, that's where we are at the moment. Hopefully this video was slightly more coherent than the last one, and as always, visit the website or drop me a line on Twitter, or me and John are on Twitter, and we'll always respond via email or via the website wherever needed. So yeah, brilliant, thanks for watching.